Hey, it's been a while since I posted anything. I thought that I would try to update you guys on some stuff that's been sitting, just marinating in the Intermediate Court of Appeals for about 2 years. This is related to the most popular video that I have with the cop, prosecutor, and judge all working together in a video against me. So I had to make two appeals. This is the first one. This was for the alleged criminal violations, and the other appeal was for all the infractions. I'll try to knock out this entire thing. I'm just going to read it because, apparently there's plenty of you that just don't like to read. So uh, I'll read out loud to you. And I don't know if you guys have any questions. If you want clarifications, post it in the comments. And if you're not already subscribed, subscribe, like the video if you find it useful, and please share it. Uh, this entire line of work that I'm doing is definitely being suppressed. I can see it in the statistics section of YouTube. You can actually see where the thresholds uh, they just tank at certain points, and especially right before I was having court hearings, they would tank. So it's like whoever works there at YouTube that gets tapped to keep politically sensitive topics down, I'm on their list. So let's get going here. All right, so this is an appeal from a judgment and sentence entered in the District Court of the Third Circuit, State of Hawaii, filed on April 12th, 2019. I haven't actually posted that entire video because it was about, I don't know, almost 3 hours long, I think, and I have to go through the process of normalizing the volume. The judge had his volume down. He didn't want his stuff getting recorded, and that was a real pain in the butt for the segments that I did do. I literally had to go through, and every time he spoke, I had to amplify his mic, what he was saying by 5 to 6 times so that it actually was level with the prosecutor and I. All right, this is the opening brief. Everything here, the formatting, this is all exactly how a lawyer would file it. So if you're looking to do something pro se, there's a better chance you'll get taken more seriously if you do the formatting that they require the attorneys, but it's not required. However, it does look nice, and it does make for reading, makes it a lot easier. Let's see here. So the table of contents is a required section for them. You'll find pretty much each of these sections in most briefs that are filed in Hawaii or pretty much any place else, I guess. So we'll, I don't know how long each of these sections will be, but maybe I'll have to chop this up into 10-minute sections to keep your attention. And it's also dry material, so unless you're like really studying this stuff, I don't expect people to necessarily go the whole way through. All right, so we have the statement of facts, the points on appeal, the standard of review, the questions presented, arguments, and then within the argument we have subsections. These are major issues here, so we've got the defendant appellant, myself, was not charged within statute of limitations, and therefore the alleged offenses were time barred. That means they weren't allowed to do anything, which is also why in one of the videos where I raised the issue of the statute of limitations, Judge Freitas he completely ignored me. He pretended as if I wasn't speaking because it was obvious. They had to throw things out. I had them. Let's see, the next section, the first trial court judge. Judge Harry Freitas erred in conducting and establishing a prima facie case, and by not finding that, as a matter of law, the prosecution had failed to comply with the requirements of process for initiating a criminal case that caused harmful effects and injustice to defendant appellant. If I'm sounding a little rough, I'm going on 5 hours of sleep, and I just thought that I would do this because I haven't been able to sleep anyways. Next section, Judge Udovic erred by ordering defendant appellant to a bench trial without conducting a probable cause hearing to determine if the warrantless seizure of defendant appellant by Officer Clarence Davies was lawful, and also without conducting an arraignment hearing or obtaining the knowing waiver of said hearing by defendant appellant. A whole bunch of errors on his part. This is the guy that mad dogged me the second time I showed up, which was the first time my motion to dismiss was heard. He was red in the face and just staring me down, trying to intimidate me. Let's see here. So, Judge Freitas and Udovic erred by failing to acknowledge that only a licensed prosecutor may initiate prosecution for a criminal case, and a police officer is not a prosecuting officer. This is a due process violation. This is a very big issue right here. This is going on in traffic courts pretty much across the country, and I mean, if they're doing it here, then in the third world, they're probably doing the same sort of business. You know, they pass these laws and they know nobody reads them, and even if there are the tiny handful like me who do, they could just run roughshod over you because the public in general tends to follow authority figures. So I'm just a nobody to everybody else, but a judge is a judge, and yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of naive and gullible people that just, for some reason, don't think that these people are capable of mistakes or lying. All right, so this the last two sections are pretty much the same, but for the different respective judges. The totality of the actions by Judge Harry Freitas present clear bias and prejudice that prevented defendant appellant from having fair proceedings and a fair trial. And the same thing for Udovic. And then we have our conclusion section. Let me check where we are time-wise on my recording. Looks like I've recorded about 7 minutes so far, so why don't we stop this right here. Actually, let me have one quick glance. We'll go over this under 10 minutes still. So, Table of Authorities. These are the cases that occur at the state level, in this section at least, that are all, relevant to what occurred in my case. And these are the statutes that are relevant. In most cases, these are statutes that they claimed I violated, or they're tied together, and they needed to be cited so that you could tell, what does it actually say? They say, you didn't have this, or you didn't do that, but what does the code actually state? And am I actually a person that is obligated under that code? Not any of the sovereign citizen nonsense where they say, none of this applies to me. There are classes of people within the codes, and they'll delineate whether or not you're within a class that the code is supposed to apply to, or you're outside that class. So that's important. Then we have the rules that the court is supposed to follow. The Hawaii Rules of Penal Procedure, Rule 7, 9, and 12. These are all really important. And then we've got federal law here with the Sixth Amendment, and my concern there being they violated my due process rights. I have the right to fair trials, or a fair trial. I have a right to have them provide the charges in a timely manner, which is the calls, the nature and calls of the hearings. And let's see. Alright, so we're getting into the beginning there. So I'm just going to stop this here and we'll make that another video.